everybody? My name is Argoth, son of man, and I am here just to let you guys in on what I'm about. Things that I enjoy, things that things I enjoy, things I like to do. Tell you guys a little bit about myself. I'm currently 23 years old, living at home with family, unfortunately. I'd like to be out on my own. Unfortunately, I'm not financially stable enough, and not really all that motivated to move out, but I'm working on trying to find myself a career and, really do something with myself. What else? I have blue eyes. I like to exercise. I'm thinning on the top of my head, which reminds me I gotta get a haircut tomorrow. I like collecting various weapons, weapons that cannot shoot projectiles at you. So I mainly collect things like knives and swords. Eventually I may get a firearm, probably about when I'm 30, when I'm actually mature enough to handle a weapon. Not that I would intentionally shoot somebody or flash a gun, but I like to share my weapons and show people what they look like, and that's really all they're there for, is for show. I play music. I love acoustic guitar. It is really one of my favorite things to do. I've been playing since I was 15 years old. It was toward the end of my first year in high school, actually, when I used to sit out on the front steps of the entrance and play for the 15 minutes after school where everybody was out, and I enjoyed it even if nobody else was listening, because it's not about that. It's really what you enjoy, and I stuck with it, and I feel like I'm fairly decent at it. I do have another YouTube channel if you guys want to check out my stuff. Down in the link in the description below, it's Ravik059. Again, that's Ravik059, RAVOC059. If I had to say what type of music I'm into, it's like a mix. I love alternative rock, but I love the sweet melodies of an instrumental guitar piece, like Buckethead. He's a really famous solo artist. I like a couple of acoustic artists, one by the name of Andy McKee, and one guy I used to watch who I think is absolutely amazing, is Sunga Jun on YouTube. He is amazing at just picking up other people's works, and whether or not he puts his own twist on it is something that he decides, but it sounds almost sounds exactly like the original piece that these people make. Antoine Dufour is another one I like. Callum Graham. Who else? Don Ross. And just a bunch of really talented people out there who are so swept underneath the table. I don't think they get enough of a following, and to me, music isn't necessarily the vocal aspect, whereas a lot of people, in my opinion today, they really like the hip hop, the pop, But to me, I feel like there's no real talent. I feel like a lot of it is just like a lot of vocal syncs, like auto tunes, stuff like that. Um, you know, like just actual music, like instrumental pieces, whether they be archipelago, just a regular instrument, whether it be clarinet, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, solos, things like that. To me, that's music at its finest, and there's a lot of young people today who like Pink Floyd. They're still huge. They've been around since the 60s, and it's 2017, so they've been around for about 50 plus years, which is amazing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. I'm not very religious per se. I do carry my faith, and of course I am half Sicilian, so my Sicilian heritage dictates that I wear a little bit of jewelry. I'm just kidding. I intentionally stereotyped myself, and that's not cool. But anything to get a laugh, right? I shouldn't do that. When I'm myself, I'm funny. When I try too hard, like I just did, I classify myself as an ass. I see myself as hardworking. I work for the things I want, like my car, like this gaming chair, like my Logitech webcam, my new laptop, my blue snowball, just certain things that I like to have. I will admit, though, I am a little bit of an impulse buyer, and I'm working to budget my spending, because growing up I never really had the best outlook on things, or the best upbringing. Unfortunately, my parents split up when I was 9 years old, and I lived with my mother for the pretty much 9 years. I've lived with my mother pretty much the first 18 years of my life. The first 9 years was when both my parents were still together, and then the next 9 years was when I was going through elementary all the way up to high school. And then once June 10th of 2012 rolled around, I moved down to Connecticut to change myself, and it's going on almost 5 years since I've moved here. About another month and 8 days. It'll be 5 years. And, excuse me. I'm single, and it really doesn't surprise me that I am still single, only because I'm a little immature in aspects. I fear having to go out on my own and actually experience the world, but at the same time, I really just want to get out and really experience what I can. It's a contradiction. I want to do it, but at the same time, I'm content with where I am. So really, it's just finding the will and motivation to do it. But again, until I find better work, I can't really do anything. So that's why, for you guys going to college, I mean, it's fantastic. I don't necessarily envy those people, but I do have a great deal of respect for those who think for themselves and choose their own paths. Unfortunately, I never had that opportunity growing up. I was, again, very content with people answering my questions for me and speaking on my behalf, because me being a second child, I never liked confrontation, but I know that the older I get, it's unavoidable, and I'm coming to terms with myself, and I'm trying to better myself every day. Um, and I'm not perfect, you know, and that's just something that, I mean, let's face it, if we were all perfect, the world would be a boring place. Right? Um, I'm currently on 3 different dating sites, which I should probably get rid of because, I realize that you can't, you can go online, you can try to look for the right person, but I feel like love has to do with fate and vice versa, because I don't want to make that mistake where I fall in love with the wrong person and end up with a divorce and all this other BS that you have to go through, papers, documents, child support, alimony, all that BS that unfortunately over 75% of the U.S. marriage, over 75% of U.S. marriages unfortunately end in divorce. And I think what kind of gave me the idea of, what gave me that idea was, I remember growing up through high school. I remember, and we were all there, people would get into relationships, at the drop of a hat, either for no apparent reason or for relatively good reason. I mean, I don't know. I never really paid that much attention. But I would say to myself, I give it like a week, maybe 2 weeks tops, and sure enough, couple would break up, and the cycle would start anew, and I'm at the point in my life where I'm still young, but at the same time I need to focus on myself, because I was so into focusing on other people's wants and needs that I never really stopped to look at myself and say, look at the things I'm doing wrong, look at how I can better myself, look at everything that I've done up until this point, and I can make it better. And I feel like me saying this to the YouTube peoples, just getting this off my chest helps me to really take a weight off my shoulders, and being on here gives me the freedom to express my opinion without I would think without judgment. I mean, the world is a much more accepting place now amongst at least amongst the YouTube community. I know there's a lot of big faces out there. I'm particularly a big fan of Pewds, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Cinnamon Toast Ken, Pungent, who else? Slipgator, just Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, Pink Stylist, just a bunch of different YouTubers who, I have to say and respect that, they do their own thing. They don't give a crap about what everybody else thinks, because it's them. They do what they want, and it makes them happy. And I feel like I'm going to start doing more videos like these, where I can just express my thoughts and opinions. I don't think I'm going to go back to doing reaction videos, only because I don't feel like I have that kind of personality to really be like a hype man. I just don't get that from some of the videos. Like, I'm more reserved, calm, and composed when I speak, except for when I'm not and I stutter over my words. Take that as you will. And you know, life is too short to not do the things you love. I mean, I love music, and I feel like eventually I want to do that as a career. I feel like I'm good enough to do that, and you know, I'll just have to look at opportunities and see what comes forward. Maybe start playing at some open mic nights, create a following, maybe even try to form a band. You know, see where that leads. I've never really done collabs with anybody on the YouTubes, and I remember way back when YouTube was still in its infancy, like back in the early 2000s, probably around the same time I started my first year in high school. I think it was 2009. I created my first YouTube channel called Daybreaker, Daybreaker, and then I created another channel, Super Gogeta 345, and I used to do like edits and stuff like that for AMVs when those were popular. I believe I have those two channels listed in my favorites, either on my Argoth Son of Man channel or my Ravik059 channel. But altogether, I really have 4 different YouTube channels, and I'm only using 2 of them because the other 2, the first and the second one, was before YouTube's policies and everything changed, and unfortunately I can't recover any passwords or any information on that, so I'll just have to look back on those 2 channels as nostalgia for when I first started YouTube, and I look so much different now than I did then, and it's just amazing how far I've come. But if I had to say my biggest flaws is listening and paying attention. I have trouble when it comes to I don't have any disabilities. I don't have ADHD. I don't have ADD. I don't have dyslexia or anything like that. You know, I can read and write fine. You know, I'm very blessed with not having anything physically or mentally wrong with me. But sometimes I feel like everybody has their downs, and there's some days I feel down, especially like a bad day at work, or like something that's happened in the family, you know, just things that happen. But everybody goes through that, and I'm not going to really dwell on that, but I feel like I can really move forward and you know, better myself. And you know, I want YouTube to be the platform where I can express my thoughts and feelings without having to be judged, or maybe I will be judged. I mean, you know, would I read some of the comments you guys had to say? Absolutely. You know, I'm always open. I keep an open mind to other people's opinions. You know, because I feel like listening to other people's opinions, you can learn something about them. You can learn something about, say, certain subjects that somebody might have to say. You kind of get to know that person a little bit through their wording, their thought process, how their minds work, so to speak. I also have a little bit of interest when it comes to the human psychology. How people think, and how they justify certain actions that, you know, are either really good or really bad. And one thing I saw myself doing a lot was, and I still do it, Uh, I have a hard time admitting that I'm wrong, and it's hard for me to be humble because for whatever reason, I always feel like I have to be the know-it-all. I feel like I have to really try and earn people's respect and acceptance, but I feel like the more I try so hard, it's the same exact outcome. It's like insanity, which, if you look up the definition of insanity, is doing the same things over and over again and trying to get a different reaction. And that will never happen. And I never really took a good look at myself to figure out what I was doing wrong and actually, fix my problems. Because, and I truly believe this, I feel like with enough willpower and discipline, anybody can do what they set out to do. Like, that's like, say my guitar, for instance. Like, if I didn't practice, or if I didn't have my guitar, never started, if I never really picked it up, I would not be as good now. I probably would have. I could have just said no. I could have said. You know what? It's too hard for me. I'm not going to learn how to play it. And at this point in my life, I realized that there is nothing that's too complicated. There is nothing that's too hard. There's no job that's too big or too small. And I let myself be easily influenced by other people's opinions, and for the longest time I used to parrot other people's opinions. I can't really, I can't do that anymore. It's like you get to an age in your life where you have to be an adult, you have to buckle down, you have to do what's right for you, where you want to go, things like that. And looking at myself now, I am the embodiment of where I came from, how I was raised, how I changed myself. And I get that first impressions are important, but this is not, this is just me telling you guys my thoughts and feelings, my opinions on myself. And if you guys find it interesting, then cool. I'm glad you take an interest in me and my personal life. And another thing too is I'm a pretty open person. There's certain information I will not give out. Obviously, you gotta know when to draw the line. But I'm also I'm a very passionate person. I like what I do. I'm a very caring person. I would literally give you the shirt off my back if I could help you. Depending on the situation, I would be more than willing to help you out. If you needed a shoulder to cry on, things like that. And I don't have too many friends. I got 2 friends that live in Massachusetts who I barely talk to anymore, because it's getting to the point where I feel that they don't bother to call, they don't bother to come and visit me, and I'm always the one who's going to them. So I feel like I'm being screwed. And as far as my family goes, really, I love talking to my twin brother. Love him to pieces. I do anything for him. I accept him for who he is, and he's one of the few people that I can rely on, even though, he has his faults, he has his flaws, and I get that, but family is family, and, if I asked him for anything, he would come through in a heartbeat. And I'm also very family oriented. I love visiting my grandparents when they can, and my grandfather's hitting 80. Or actually, he just turned 80, April 23rd. He shares the same birthday as my stepmother. And my grandmother's going to be 84 this year, in September, which is pretty amazing. The fact that my grandmother's 84 years old. My grandparents grew up in Sicily. They grew up when the Second World War was going on, and on my dad's side of the family, I have my other grandparents who are in their late 70s, and I'm fortunate to have both sets of grandparents. And honest to God, I would probably be devastated. I will be devastated, when I lose my grandparents. But that's life, But you learn from it. You take the good with the bad. You take the bad with the good and the ugly. I mean, you're always going to come into problems, but it's the whole part of being a man. It's the whole part of being a woman. We all have to take everything in, form our own opinions, deal with certain things as they come along, and I'm not this worldly person. I don't see myself as that. I'm a 23-year-old young man, for God's sakes. I don't know as much as, say, I don't know any more than you guys know. Whether it be the same age group, a little bit older, I don't know. It's just my opinion. I mean, there's really nothing factual. I have very little life experience, and for most of my life, I've pretty much been inside, like in this bubble, and I'm trying to crack the shell to get out. Like I said, I want to do better, and I feel like this is a small stride to get me to where I want to go and give me the confidence I need to be able to be my own person and do the things I want to do, regardless if I'm being judged, or if somebody doesn't like, or if somebody doesn't like what I do. I shouldn't give a crap about what other people think, and I really don't. But I'm running out of time here, guys. It's going on about a half hour. I really appreciate taking the time to talk to you, express my thoughts and feelings about myself. Now you guys know a little bit more about me and as a whole, as a person, and I feel like this is just a small step, and I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there that are you may be going through the same thing. I don't know. But also, if you guys ever need somebody to talk to, I do have a Skype. It's Daff Dylan Guitar Man. and I'll put that in a link in the description below for you guys. And I really hope you guys have a good night, good day, wherever you are. Hopefully hopefully we all learned something from this little experience. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to leave a like and a comment, that would be great. If you subscribe, you guys are my heroes. And you know, I can't thank you guys enough, truly. So as my grandfather would say, buonanotte, good night, and you guys stay beautiful. Bye.